The early morning light crept through the bayou, leaving eerie shadows on their path. Tremaine looked over at the young girl for the 100th time. She never once made a sound, but she managed to keep up. She looked exhausted, and they had been hiking for hours, but he wanted to put some distance between her and Sinclair McAllister's estate. His heart broke for the beautiful, wide-eyed young girl who had lived through horrors he couldn't bring himself to imagine. Her hair was a tangled mess of colors, her eyes a combination of green and gold he'd never seen. Every time he caught a glimpse of the nasty bruise that covered one side of her face, he wanted to pound the life out of the sick piece of shit who gave it to her. After everything she'd been through, she wore no expression. There was intelligence in her eyes, though, and she responded to every direction he'd given her without argument. She was so young, 11, maybe 12 years old, and she'd been through hell no one deserved at the hands of a monster. Her slender fingers clutched his coat tight around her thin frame, her knuckles white. That was the only sign of emotion. Tremaine was ill-equipped to comfort the girl, but from the moment he saw her, he knew he would do anything to protect her and keep her safe. His new mission was to ensure she had a better life if it were the last thing he did. He wanted nothing more than to banish the memory of finding her. His supervisor, Magister Drayson, had sent him on an assignment to verify the truth of the rumors circulating about Sinclair McAllister and his crimes. Everyone had finally retired for the night, and Tremaine took his chance to sneak into the library. He knelt beside the safe, flipping through a huge stack of sales records. Every last one of Sinclair's slaves were mage-born. Many showed signs that they were victims of mana theft. The further Tremaine dug, the more it appeared that Sinclair was indeed a dark mage, feeding off the very people he enslaved. His stomach turned at the thought that his closest friend was this monster's brother. Wilhelm was a good father who always looked to help those in need. Sinclair took children from their families, stripping their life essence away in order to maintain his power. Then Tremaine found the diaries, with detailed descriptions of the torture and abuse Sinclair doled out to his slaves. There was one slave who was older in appearance, silver streaks through her mahogany hair. A few of the slaves were in their 20s, but the majority were in their teens. There was more than enough evidence to condemn Sinclair for the rest of his unnatural life. Tremaine needed to find a way to free the slaves before they could suffer further. A scream echoed from the next room. Tremaine ran into the hall. There was another shrill cry, this one full of pain, as a child yelled, "No! Stop!" Tremaine turned the knob, but it was locked. Sinclair shouted, "Quiet, bitch! You'll learn to take it without a sound!" The sound of a slap rang out. "Go to hell!" a girl shrieked. Tremaine slammed into the door, shattering it with a pulse of magic. He was met with shadowed webbing that blocked his entrance. The crackle of lightning and sobs filled the room. With renewed effort, he shoved his fingers into the scalding magic and forced his own power into the spell. The shield crumbled to dust as he tore it apart. Tremaine burst into the room. A gurgled groan came from Sinclair as Tremaine turned the corner. Sinclair was on top of a girl who was covered in arcing blue lightning. His body danced as the girl's magic flowed through his flesh, setting him on fire. Sinclair's strangled scream echoed through the room. His burning corpse collapsed on top of the girl. "No, no, no!" she sobbed. Tremaine didn't think. He rushed forward and threw Sinclair's body from the bed. He hardly felt the heat, but noticed the fire licking up his sleeves. A quick spell doused the flames as he turned back to the girl. He found her staring back at him with wide, terrified eyes, and then she screamed.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.